Hey guys, I hope that you're all doing really well. Today's video, I'm going to try to kind of answer a question that came in. I don't have anything prepared really, but it's a familiar type of question, or it's a familiar type of inner movement that's happening in the questioner. And so we'll see what comes through, and I hope it has some value for you guys. The question is, everything was magic. Essentially, it's like everything was magic and synchronicity, and now things have shifted towards like darkness and negativity. This person is saying when they first woke up, it was really magical, and they were just feeling a lot of light, a lot of freedom, maybe some bliss and joy. And they've noticed as they've continued to surrender that a lot of negativity has been surfacing, or what they're labeling as negativity. A lot of emotional pain, a lot of heavier emotions and sensations are arising, and that can be really confusing for us, because we think that awakening is supposed to kind of save us from pain and suffering. That once we get to a certain point, that we're going to just be free of pain and suffering, which of course is an illusion. It's kind of, you could say it's a new age illusion. I wouldn't even give it to new age. I'd just give it to a kind of a confused spiritual ego, or a spiritual egoic perspective about what awakening really is. As long as we have this body, and as long as we're in a evolutionary realm, there's always going to be a degree of pain and a certain amount of suffering, and the suffering may depend on how much your preferences have dissolved. Like how much your preferences for how you feel your life should go have dissolved. How much your desires rooted in conditioning and cultural programming have dissolved. So to the extent that kind of your personhood, like your personhood in the sense of egoic conditioning, however much that's dissolved, you'll probably have a lot less suffering. Because when suffering arises, you'll start to see it as a gift. You'll start to see it as something that's bringing you closer to your source, closer to your creator. So as you evolve and deepen, it's not that the pain and suffering ceases to be, it's that the pain and suffering is more or less embraced, because you've adopted perspectives that the pain and suffering is here to serve you. It's not something to eradicate, or it's not that something has gone wrong or that it shouldn't be here. Because when you're saying something shouldn't be here, you're creating a division within yourself, and the divisions lead to more suffering and pain. So that's the big thing, is the more you awaken and evolve, the less there's divisions between you. There's just less there's divisions within you. And so when there's not divisions within you, you're going to experience the least amount of suffering possible. I was talking to a friend last night, and they were saying something about, I could feel good things coming, love and freedom and these things, but pain also. And my response was, yes, there's no escaping the pain unless you fall in love with it. And that's another way of talking about having no type of duality within you when it comes to sensations. Is when something arises, there's just this natural, oh, this too, I'm in love with this too. It's kind of like Matt Kahn's title of Matt Kahn's book several years ago, of whatever arises, love that. So yeah, the more you merge into oneness with all that is, of course, the less suffering there's going to be. But that's a big task, because we have these things called minds and spiritual egos, and they have ideas, and there's even conditioning when it comes to spirituality. There's so many people selling courses for, it was $544 and now it's only $199 for a limited time, and it's gonna do this and that. Like these kind of promises of this course, after this course you will be healed for good or something. And I don't know how much there is of that anymore, if I'm being completely honest. I just used to see those things when I was at a certain phase on the path where I only wanted to experience the lighter emotions, where I only wanted to experience the higher vibrations. There were these kinds of sales pitches of like, this is going to get you there, because there's a lot of spiritual egos out there that want to get there, and it's like that whole facade, that whole kind of illusionary trap, in a way, it just falls at a certain point. And something in you, and that can cause suffering. That's another place of division within yourself when you're trying to get somewhere other than where you are. That's another division. So it's just, you can notice, you start, as you deepen, you start noticing all these places where you're divided within yourself, where you're pushing away from the current moment, trying to get somewhere else. Pushing away from the thoughts that are arising, trying to make different thoughts. And it's the same thing with feelings. And so that's another point of suffering that falls away, is you don't want to actually, there's nothing in you like trying to get anywhere anymore. I'm realizing that this would be more fun live, just because like your guys' questions live, it will pull out different answers. Anyways, like an answer that's attuned for you. Like it'll pull it out from my field. That could be fun soon, maybe. We'll see. So yeah, like until at a certain point you're not like wanting things different. That's the point. It's like you're not seen as when things are magical and synchronistic. Cool, that's nice, okay, I'll enjoy this. Nice, thanks God, fun, whatever. You just appreciate it. And when things are dark and heavy and difficult, okay, wow, this is interesting, I'm curious about this. What is this for? You know, it's like, thanks God. It's still, there's like this energy of equanimity in your inner being, like because you're connected to your inner being more and more, and less your mind. And your inner being is in a state of equanimity. It's like always in a state of allowing. It's always in a state of openness, of like discovery, of like, oh, okay, darkness, what is this? Oh, or it feels like mud. It's like, oh, it's dense, it's heavy. Your inner being isn't sitting there seeing a problem like that it's there. Your inner being's like celebrating the muddiness, the gnarliness. It's like, it's here for that. It's here for all of it. It's here because it wants to be on the edge of, like, living edge of evolution, you know? It wants to, it's like so grateful just to have taken form so that it can feel. It's like feeling is the gift after a while. You're not searching for certain feelings or certain states anymore. It's like the certain feelings and states, they come and you experience them, and then they go, and then another state, and it's just like you're not also giving yourself credit for the state. You're not like, yay, I did this state, I'm amazing, look at me, spiritual superhero person or whatever, and everyone, I have something to share because this is and you can share your truth and all that. And you're also not beating yourself up if you're in a quote unquote lower state or lower vibration, thinking, oh, it's because I did this and that. And the mind loves reasons. The mind loves a reason for why you're in a higher state or a lower state. There's no reasons except for, that's just what is. That's just how God wants it in that moment. Like, that's the only reason. You know, it's like you're on this roller coaster and you're going for a ride, and you're gonna go through higher states and lower states and middle states and all of them. It has nothing to do with you. And so and that's another point of suffering, because that's another point of inner division. When you're saying, I'm the one who did this, or I'm to blame for this. It's like letting yourself off the hook for everything. It's like, no, this is God. This is all an act of divine will and an act of God. That's the boss in this realm. And so when you can see that, when you're no longer doing the play-by-play of, I'm feeling this because I did that, or whatever. And it's nice to like learn the life lessons and all that. I'm not saying that this doesn't negate any of that. But it's just this place where you can, not take yourself so seriously anymore, and not give your mind doesn't have as much power as you think it does, in some ways. And that's actually fertile ground for the mind to cause you suffering, is getting really attached to, giving your, being good, and you're doing something right when you feel good, and oh, I'm bad and I'm doing something wrong when I'm having unpleasant sensations. It's like that's like a place where the mind can really cause so much torment to our inner self. It's like, no, none of that's true. It's like God is giving you an offering when he's bringing you whatever he's bringing you. It's like exactly what you need in that moment for you to reach your highest evolutionary potentiality. And so when darkness comes into your life, instead of seeing it as some kind of punishment, or I must have done something wrong, or this is my fault, you, like I was saying earlier in the video, this becomes a place where you just smile. You smile and you say, okay, God, okay, and it's just, you see it as part of your karmic path, as part of your divine path, and you see everything as orchestrated for your highest good. And you don't see the darkness as something you could have avoided if only you had known this, or done this better, or been a better spiritual whatever, or because you're actually not even trying to avoid darkness anymore. That's the catch, is like darkness isn't seen as some troublesome place. The hell realm isn't seen as the worst thing. Everything's seen as just the shape of the divine, as a landscape of the divine to learn from, to learn within. And when you no longer care if life takes you into hell and darkness, fuck, man, that's freedom, When you can go into hell and darkness and kind of be having a kind of laugh at it, and not in like an arrogant way, but just in the humble way of like, oh fuck, we're in it again, and you can kind of just bring this lightness to it, because everything that could be in separation to it within you has been stripped away. That's how you get free in hell. That's how you kind of have a smile in hell, is everything within you that could see it as a problem, or I've done something wrong, or this shouldn't be happening, or this is some kind of mistake, or I'm being punished, all that nonsense, all that spiritual conditioning or whatever. When all of that's just kind of stripped away, when you're just empty, it's hard to have an opinion about what's happening. That's the thing. This path empties you out. It empties like your personality constructs out. It empties your preferences out. It empties all the places within you that are resisting darkness and clinging to the light. It's like that place falls away. It's all dissolved, and you become just this empty conduit of grace. Because when you become empty, you actually become full of love. That's like the catch. It's like when you become radically empty, you actually just feel yourself as this lovingness. And this love is with you in every moment, no matter what you're experiencing on the temporal plane. Because it's all fleeting anyways, but no matter what you're experiencing, there's this presence of love there with you. So you have enough resource for it or something. You have enough ground for it. And the way you get emptied out is you go through enough darkness to where you can't fight anymore. It's like the darkness just breaks you down over and over and over again. So the darkness is actually the compost for you to move into a deeper lovingness within you. It's actually the necessary ingredient for you to really step into this place of deep, unconditional love. Because that's what the darkness does. It's like it finds all the places where you fight, where you resist, where you kick and scream, where you have preferences, where the should and the shouldn'ts exist, where all the duality exists. And that's the beauty of the darkness, of the heaviness. It's like it's trying to reveal to you where you're kind of immature, where you have this spiritual immaturity, where you only want it this way, or where your spiritual ego has gotten power over your process, and it's trying to just cultivate only high vibes because we don't want to deal with all that darkness or whatever. It has like this judgment. The darkness finds judgment within you. It finds your good and bad, right and wrong. It finds all of it. It wants to reveal to you where you are misaligned from truth. It wants to show you where you're we are in separation still. Because this lovingness, when darkness comes, it doesn't stop loving or something. It's just like, oh wow, darkness to love. You know, it's love is just like, there's just this oneness that the darkness is trying to take you to. So anytime darkness comes into my life and I'm like a little bit like, oh, what is this? I'm like, oh, a place I'm not free, a place I'm not surrendered to truth. Thank you, divine. I had it even happen last night or something. You know, I was feeling quite dreamy the last few days, quite high, on a very high plane of just, you know, lots of light, lots of whatever. Just openness and clarity. And last night I could feel a kind of a distortion coming into my field, you could say, a darkness. And there was this, for almost like, and that's the thing, the recognition gets quicker and quicker, because it was like for a microsecond or maybe just a second and a half, there was something in me that was like, I don't want the light that I'm experiencing to go. And I was like, oh, perfect. I was able to recognize another place within me that was subtly in division, that was subtly fighting what is, that was subtly trying to hang on to the light so that I could be something with it. Chills. That was a big thing for my spiritual ego. I'm gonna be this light being and everyone's gonna love me and they're gonna say I'm such a master and I'm so high level, and you know, they're gonna all whatever. It's the same thing I was talking about the other day with what I was trying to do with the intellect when I was reading all this Dostoevsky and stuff. That part of us that tries to do the same thing with the spiritual energies. It wants to be, I'm the one with whatever, however many subscribers. I'm the one that, I'm going to use this light to get wealthy and to create financial abundance. And there's no judgment here about any of that stuff at all. They're all parts of the process, and they're all part of our journey and aspects of the path. Beautiful. But it's like that part that it was really subtle last night, but I saw it come up and be like, oh no, we're not going to be the super light one anymore. And I was like, oh shoot, it's been a while since that part had came up. And I've been feeling so opened and, you know, just whatever, high vibrational lately. That part got to come back up again, and I got to see anything within me that would want to use this vibration as a way to become more, to build a construct, or like the false self wants to build something, or a false self wants to be built through the spirituality even. And I was like, I just saw it. I was like, all right. What does that part actually need? It just needs to know it's going to be loved, even if our vibration plummets tomorrow and we find ourselves in a hell realm and we're back on YouTube saying, you know, you've seen my videos. I love to keep it real. I love to keep it real. And that's actually a joy, is when you're in the darkness, having the freedom to share from there. That's been one of my greatest joys on this whole path, is being in a hell realm, but getting to get in front of a camera and owning it and be like, here's what's happening. Here's what's real. This is crazy, right? Here's what I'm going through. And sure enough, I almost guarantee, well, we don't know. We think we know based on what happened in the past, but we'll just see what happens, right? We'll just see what happens. That's the best we got when it comes to inner states. You're like, we don't know. We don't know. And that's a humble place. It keeps us very humble, this life thing that we're in. It keeps us very humble. And so I hope that was a nice 18-minute video of helping you come to terms with how this process goes. And yeah, it feels good and complete. Thank you for being here. If you would like to support this work, your donations are super helpful. I've got links in the description box to donate and also in the comments. Other great ways to support this work are by booking a session. Really easy to do. Just click on the link. It shows my times and availability. You just put in a credit card and you can schedule that way. And lastly, offering to host me while I'm in Europe. That's an awesome way to support me. Helps me save money by giving me a free place to stay, of course. And also, it could be a time for us to connect one-on-one. So I put a form for that as well in the description and the comments. And you can just, if you want to offer that, you can just let me know, like, kind of how you feel like you want it to go, and expectations about it, and what kind of container you want to create with me, right? But yeah, other than that, just sending you guys so much love. Until the next video, namaste.